There are moments in life when you feel something that makes no rational sense. A gravitational pull toward another person so profound, so beyond explanation, that it shakes the very ground beneath who you thought you were. It isn't love in the way you've been taught. It's not desire or infatuation. It's older, quieter, deeper. You try to explain it away, to reason with it, to ignore it, but it stays. It hums in the background like a forgotten melody, echoing in your chest. And the question returns, why them? Why this feeling? Carl Jung believed that certain connections awaken ancient energies within us. Memories, wounds, archetypes, remnants of a soul history we no longer consciously remember. These are not just meetings. They are reunions. Encounters written not by chance but by a force larger than logic. Something fated, karmic, maybe even destined. This is not a story of fantasy. It's a story of truth you can't unfeel. The kind of truth that bypasses the mind and lands straight in the body. A knowing that someone isn't just crossing your path, they are your path. Not by coincidence but by necessity. Sometimes it feels like peace. A strange, sudden calm in the chaos. Other times, it arrives as disruption, like an earthquake in your soul, leaving nothing untouched. But real connection, the destined kind, doesn't ask for permission. Your subconscious feels it before you do. Your body reacts before your thoughts catch up. And if you've ever met someone and felt time freeze, like everything around you blurred into silence, like your spirit recognized theirs before a single word was spoken. If something in you whispered, this matters. Pay attention. Then maybe, just maybe, what you're feeling isn't just love. Maybe it's destiny, knocking on the door of your soul. Let's go deeper, into the signs, the hidden patterns, and the psychological truths that reveal when a person isn't just passing through your life, but was meant to meet you all along. Sometimes something stirs inside you, sudden, wordless, and undeniable. You meet a person, and before your mind can label the moment, before logic can interfere, your body reacts. Not with thought, with instinct, a knowing, a shift. And it's not about how they look. Not about what they say. It's not charm or charisma. It's something else entirely. A stillness that descends out of nowhere. Or perhaps a sudden inner chaos, a jolt that shakes you awake. Either way, something deep inside moves. As if part of you long dormant has been touched, called forward, remembered. Carl Jung believed that these moments aren't accidents. That the people who provoke such awakenings are not strangers, but messengers, symbols, mirrors. He taught that every meaningful connection emerges from layers of the unconscious that most of us never truly understand. According to Jung, our psyche is not random. It carries structure, ancient, symbolic, and deeply personal. We hold within us archetypes, emotional blueprints, and unresolved energies. And these hidden forces shape how we relate to others, often long before we're aware of it. So when someone enters your life and sparks a reaction that feels bigger than reason, that's not chemistry. That's the unconscious recognizing something significant. A pattern resurfacing. A forgotten piece of your inner map lighting up. Not by accident, but by design. So when you feel something intense toward someone, a surge of emotion that catches you off guard, don't be so quick to call it new. Because it might not be new at all. It might be ancient. A memory without words. A feeling that belongs not just to this lifetime, but to the quiet depths of your unconscious. You may meet someone and feel a strange familiarity, as if your soul has already been here. As if you're remembering rather than discovering. There's no logical reason, and yet, in their presence you feel at home. Or perhaps the opposite, you feel overwhelmed, vulnerable, exposed. Peace and panic. Comfort and confusion. A calm that steadies you, or a chaos that shatters you. The contradiction itself is the clue. Because when it's real, when it's destiny, it rarely arrives wrapped in clarity. It comes disguised, unscheduled, uncontrolled. And it doesn't make sense, because it's not meant to. Carl Jung taught that the unconscious speaks not in language, but in symbols, sensations, and synchronicities. So that feeling you can't explain? It's a message. A signal that something meaningful is unfolding beneath the surface. This person might not just be someone. They might be a mirror, a key, a lesson, a doorway you didn't know you were meant to walk through. And the connection you feel isn't just emotion. It's transformation quietly asking to begin. For some, the connection feels like immediate peace, as if the noise inside them suddenly quiets, as if all the internal chaos finally exhales. For others, it feels like pressure, like emotional friction, raw and unrelenting, as though this person has the uncanny ability to press every button you've tried to hide. But whether it's peace or provocation, both are signs of something real, something deep. Because comfort isn't the only proof of truth. In fact, truth often arrives wrapped in discomfort. Growth, after all, rarely feels gentle. Sometimes the people who are truly meant for us aren't the ones who bring ease, they're the ones who bring awareness. They don't fight us. They reflect us. Their presence alone becomes a kind of challenge, an unspoken invitation to look inward. Without trying to change you, they change you. They don't give you answers, but their existence makes you question everything. Your story, your decisions, your path, your identity. Carl Jung called this sacred unraveling, the process of individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming whole, of integrating the hidden parts of ourselves we've ignored, denied, or forgotten. And sometimes the soul doesn't begin that journey until it meets a person who acts as the mirror, not to who you've been, but to who you could become. Others, especially those who stir us deeply, become mirrors for the parts of ourselves waiting to be born. They reflect what we've hidden away, what aches to emerge into the light. And with this awakening can come fear. What if I'm mistaken? What if it's one-sided? What if it's just a trick of my mind, a fleeting illusion? But when the connection is genuine, woven into your psychological and spiritual growth, it does not fade. It does not dissolve with distance. It does not vanish after a handful of conversations. Even if the contact breaks, the emotional imprint remains, like a faint but undeniable echo within you. That is not fantasy. That is legacy. When someone is truly your destiny, the universe rarely paves an easy road. Sometimes you meet when the stars themselves seem misaligned. Sometimes the timing is wrong. Sometimes your soul is simply not ready to receive the gift. Yet even when circumstances aren't perfect, that feeling lingers. And it's not obsession. It's recognition. Recognition of what, exactly? Recognition of a hidden layer within yourself. A part that longs for healing, a wound waiting to be soothed. Recognition of a potential lying dormant, waiting for its awakening. Recognition of a memory your soul holds tightly, even if your conscious mind has forgotten it. The most important thing is this: you don't have to fully understand it right now. You don't need to solve the mystery or force an explanation. You simply need to honor the feeling. To allow yourself to feel it without judgment, to explore it without pressure, to witness it without fear. Because when something is truly destined, it unfolds in its own perfect timing, often in ways we could never have anticipated. That person you can't stop thinking about. That look that lingers in your mind's eye. That moment when you felt completely known, fully seen. It didn't happen by chance. It happened for a reason. You don't need to chase after it. You don't need to try to control it. But you also shouldn't deny it or push it away. That mysterious feeling you can't quite put into words. It might be your soul's quiet recognition of someone who came to awaken you. And make no mistake, that awakening is rarely soft or easy. It's often disruptive, unsettling, even painful. But always profound, always transformative. So the next time your heart reacts before your mind can catch up, pause, listen, feel. Because you're not losing your mind. You might simply be remembering something real, something sacred, something the world tried to make you forget. And that feeling, strange, beautiful, confusing, it could be the very sign you've been waiting for. You meet someone. You talk, maybe for days, weeks, or sometimes just fleeting minutes. Then life moves forward. They leave. Or maybe you walk away. But something doesn't leave with them. Something lingers. A presence. A pull. A quiet, persistent force that refuses to release its hold. You feel it in the stillness, in those quiet moments between thoughts, in dreams that visit unbidden, in the spaces where your mind usually finds rest. You try to ignore it. You tell yourself it's nothing. Maybe just a passing infatuation. Yet days go by and they remain in your thoughts. Not with dramatic obsession, but as a gentle, steady hum. Like background music playing softly that you can't switch off. That's when the real questions surface. Why can't I forget? Why do I still feel this connection even when we're apart? Carl Jung saw relationships as far more than mere emotional attachments. He understood them as powerful symbols, portals to the unconscious. He described certain people as containers, 4 parts of our hidden psyche. What this means is that when we encounter someone who profoundly moves us, we are not simply connecting with them on the surface. We are connecting with a concealed part of ourselves that they awaken. That's why this pull feels so magnetic. Because it's not really about them. It's about drawing yourself closer through them. This magnetic force doesn't obey the usual rules. It ignores distance, defies logic, and laughs at timing. Often, you feel the strongest pull towards someone when you're physically farthest apart. And no matter how hard you try to close the door, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, a small crack always remains open. Because something unfinished, unresolved, still lives there. That's the nature of destiny. It never rushes. It patiently waits. It silently observes. It remains quiet yet unwavering. The magnetic pull you feel isn't always a signal that the relationship is meant to last forever. Sometimes, it's a sign that something deep within you has been sparked, and that awakening is still unfolding over time. This is why certain people enter your life and leave an indelible mark. Not because they were the one in a romantic sense, but because they were exactly who your unconscious needed at that particular moment on your path. They opened a door inside you. And once such a door is unlocked, it never truly shuts again. You may notice signs. Repeated numbers, familiar names, places, or moments strangely tied to them. And you start to wonder, am I reading too much into this? Jung believed that the unconscious communicates not through words or sentences, but through symbols and signs. So perhaps these repeated signals aren't mere coincidences. They are messages, attempts at communication from a deeper place within. This magnetic pull you feel isn't designed to torment you. It's meant to awaken you, to urge you to look more closely, to reveal that there is more beneath the surface than you might be willing to see. And it's not always about the other person. Often it's about you, your wounds, your fears, your inner growth. Every profound connection acts like a mirror, and that's what makes it so difficult to let go. Because you're not simply releasing a person. You're releasing what they awaken within you. Maybe they helped you feel alive again after years of numbness. Maybe they recognized something in you that you had long forgotten. Maybe they challenged everything you believed in a way that shattered your defenses and forced you to confront your truth. This kind of pull isn't something your psyche forgets easily. It's not a feeling you experience with just anyone. In the course of a lifetime, you meet thousands of people. Most pass through without leaving a significant mark. But then there's that one person. The one whose presence lingers long after they are physically gone. No matter how much time passes, a part of you still listens for their voice, still wonders if they feel the same pull. Sometimes they do. But even if they don't, that doesn't diminish the reality of the experience. Because destiny isn't always mutual in the way we desire. It's mutual in the way our souls require. This means that even one-sided connections can carry profound spiritual meaning. They can become the fire that burns away our old layers, the mirror reflecting our deepest shadows, the magnet that draws us from who we were toward who we are meant to become. Jung described this kind of bond as an inner marriage, a sacred encounter between your conscious self and your unconscious truth. The person you feel irresistibly drawn to might embody your anima or animus, the inner opposite energy striving to emerge and express itself through your external life. This is why the attraction transcends mere physical or emotional levels. It feels archetypal, as if some greater force beyond your conscious understanding is pulling the strings. You don't need to chase this feeling. You don't have to put a label on it, but you must honor and respect its presence. If the pull remains strong even after separation, even through silence, it signals that the lesson is not yet complete. The story in some form is still unfolding. This doesn't mean you have to reach out or seek closure. It means you need to cultivate awareness, to recognize and accept the deeper processes at work within you. It's the awareness that this person did not appear in your life by chance, but for a meaningful reason. The pull you feel toward them is not a sign of vulnerability or weakness. It's a profound indication of the depth within your soul. So, when their energy lingers long after they have physically left, when their presence subtly echoes through your daily life in ways you cannot deny, don't panic. Don't try to push it away. Instead, lean in and listen carefully. Because sometimes, your soul perceives truths before your conscious mind can grasp them. Destiny does not demand your immediate attention. It patiently pulls at you, gently but persistently, until you are ready to truly hear. By the way, if you want to dive even deeper into understanding and integrating both your shadows and your light, consider exploring the Sim Method ebook. It's a concise, practical guide designed to help you unlock your inner power in just 5 minutes a day. You can find the link in the first pinned comment below. You begin to see the future effortlessly. Many people inspire you to think about what lies ahead. But a rare few make you feel the future as if it's already unfolding around you, without any effort at all. You're not deliberately planning or daydreaming. You're simply living the experience as it unfolds within you. And yet, your mind starts to see them, right there beside you, in moments that haven't even happened yet. You find yourself imagining conversations that haven't taken place, trips you haven't booked, mornings that have yet to arrive. In every one of these imagined futures, that person naturally appears. Not because you're forcing the thought, but because your soul instinctively places them there, as if it already knows. Carl Jung spoke about synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that are far from random accidents. They are reflections of your inner truth. So when your inner world begins to include someone effortlessly and without conscious intention, don't mistake it for mere fantasy. This is your intuition communicating through vivid images, emotions, and spontaneous visions. It's important to distinguish this from obsession or clinging to a specific outcome. These glimpses into the future often bring a sense of calm and peace, not desperation or urgency. You don't feel a desperate urge to force it to happen. Instead, there's a quiet knowing that if it were to happen, it would simply feel natural, it would make perfect sense. You might be sitting alone and suddenly you see them laughing beside you. Or walking through a store, you catch yourself imagining what they might say about something you notice. Maybe you hear a song and their presence flows through the melody, wrapping around your thoughts. These moments are not random occurrences. They are energetic imprints, traces of their essence shaping your inner world, whether or not you remain in contact. This doesn't mean fate demands you marry them or build a conventional life together. Rather, it signifies that their energy has quietly entered your unconscious, syncing with your personal growth and transformation. The future you're sensing isn't just about external events or scenarios. It's about who you become in their presence, the evolution of your own self that their influence awakens. You don't have to map out a plan. You don't need to label or define the connection. What truly matters is recognizing how effortlessly they blend into your vision of what's coming next. They don't disrupt your life, they flow with it. And that kind of seamless harmony is something rare and profound. Most relationships ask us to bend, to reshape our dreams to fit another's story. But when someone is truly woven into your destiny, your dreams don't have to be forced. They begin to naturally expand, gently folding themselves around this presence. It's not pressure or obligation, it's resonance. Something in them awakens a part of you that has long been waiting, a potential ready to bloom. And the most beautiful truth? You don't have to clutch or grasp tightly because what's truly meant for you never demands struggle or force. It unfolds quietly, moves in its own subtle rhythm, and arrives precisely when the timing is right. So if you catch yourself envisioning a future with them, even before a single word has been spoken, don't brush it aside. Instead, tune in to that still, soft voice within you that already knows the truth. Because sometimes your unconscious mind perceives what your conscious eyes have yet to see. They stir a profound emotional response inside you. Destiny isn't always gentle. It often arrives with fierce intensity, through fire, through tears, through a feeling so overwhelming that it leaves you breathless and unsure how to respond. You meet someone and suddenly an overwhelming wave crashes through you, not merely attraction but a complex storm of emotions. Joy, fear, anger, confusion, sometimes all swirling together at once. This reaction isn't random. It's not a sign of weakness. It is the raw pulse of transformation unfolding within you. Carl Jung taught us that those who ignite such powerful emotional responses are often mirrors reflecting the hidden parts of ourselves, both our radiant light and our deepest wounds. They don't create your pain. Instead, they reveal what has long been buried beneath the surface. This is why their presence feels so intensely charged, because they push open ancient doors in your psyche, doors that may have been tightly shut for years or even decades. You might find yourself inexplicably irritated by them. You could feel drawn to their energy while simultaneously wanting to pull away. You may shed tears after an encounter, or be seized by sudden panic without any clear reason why. This emotional turmoil is not chaos. It's the psyche's urgent call to awaken, to face what you've hidden, and to begin the process of healing and growth. These intense emotions are not signals that something is broken within you. Rather, they are profound markers of depth, of recognition, and of the inner work being awakened. A person who arrives as part of your destiny rarely leaves you feeling indifferent or neutral. They touch the most vulnerable, raw corners of your soul, often precisely the places that have long been waiting for healing and acknowledgement. Perhaps they remind you of a parent, conjuring echoes of old patterns. Maybe they embody qualities you've rejected or parts of yourself you've tried to bury. Or maybe they challenge everything you thought you knew about love, vulnerability, and trust. Whatever the case, the emotions they awaken are never trivial because the transformation they catalyze within you is never minor. This intensity is precisely why so many shy away from these connections. They feel overwhelming, confusing, sometimes unbearable. But as Jung wisely advised, don't run away. Instead, watch carefully. Feel deeply. Learn patiently. For emotion is not your enemy, it is the gateway to greater self-awareness and profound growth. When someone triggers a deep reaction within you, they are offering you a map. A roadmap to the hidden places where your pain still lingers, where your boundaries blur, and where the shadows of your past continue to hold sway. If you have the courage to follow that map, to venture into those uncharted territories, you will discover not only lost parts of yourself but also the path to profound healing. This doesn't mean that every emotional upheaval signals destiny. But when those feelings are paired with an inexplicable sense of weight, a quiet knowing that this moment truly matters, even if you can't fully explain why, that's when the veil lifts. That's when it becomes more than just a fleeting emotion. It transforms into an invitation to grow, to evolve, and to face what has long been hidden beneath the surface. You don't need to fight it or push it away. Simply observe. Be present with what arises. Because destiny rarely arrives wrapped in ease and comfort. More often, it comes disguised as chaos, disruption, or discomfort, tools meant to clear the path for your transformation and awakening. So the next time someone stirs something profound inside you, before dismissing it as overwhelming or inconvenient, pause and ask yourself, what lesson is this moment offering? For those who shake us to our core are often the very ones who shape us, and their presence in our lives is never accidental or meaningless. Silence does not shatter the connection. There exists a bond so profound that it transcends words. It doesn't rely on endless texts, daily calls, or constant presence to survive. Time flows on. Days stretch into weeks, sometimes months, yet the connection remains untouched, unfazed by the absence of conversation or visible signs. You may not hear their voice or see their name pop up on your screen, but their presence lingers, not in your notifications but in the very energy that pulses through your being. Not in your ears, but deeply rooted in your chest, resonating with the quiet rhythm of your soul. When someone is truly woven into the fabric of your destiny, silence becomes not a void, but a space where the bond grows even stronger. Distance does not dilute it. Instead, it deepens the unseen threads that tie you together. Because a connection that exists on the soul's plane does not require constant proof or reminders. It simply is, timeless, unwavering, and eternal. Carl Jung taught us that the unconscious speaks its own language, a language of dreams, sensations, symbols, and intuition. It is a language untouched by logic, unfettered by the linear ticking of clocks. It flows in its own mysterious rhythm, beyond the constraints of time and space we try to impose. So when you sense someone's presence, even when they're physically absent, it's not always your imagination playing tricks on you. Often, it's your unconscious mind quietly reminding you that this person still holds significance in your life. There might be stretches of days when you don't think of them at all, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, their energy washes over you, a fleeting thought, a vivid dream, a sudden physical sensation, just as tangible as if they had walked into the room. This kind of presence is profound, not shallow. It's not forged by habit, repetition, or daily routine. It is anchored in something far deeper, an invisible thread woven through the core of your being, something that remains unbroken even when words cease and silence takes hold. The truth is, society often teaches us that silence equals disconnection. That if someone is no longer actively part of our day-to-day lives, they no longer care and the bond is lost. But this is a misunderstanding, an incomplete story about how soul connections truly function. Some souls are stitched so intimately into ours that they become part of our inner landscape. No passage of time, no absence of communication, no silence can undo that sacred stitching. Of course, this doesn't mean you should cling to those who cause you pain or suffering. It doesn't mean romanticizing toxic patterns or unhealthy relationships. Instead, it means recognizing that some connections exist beyond surface-level interactions. They live in the depths of your psyche and continue to influence your growth, healing, and transformation long after the conversations have ended. But silence alone is never proof that the connection wasn't real. In fact, sometimes the most profound bonds don't rely on spoken words or constant interaction. They simply need to be deeply felt, sensed beyond the surface of language. You may find yourself wondering if they think of you as often as you think of them. If somewhere, in the quiet corners of their heart, the connection still pulses with the same subtle intensity it does in yours. And though you may never receive an answer, that feeling remains, not as a source of pain or longing but as a gentle presence. Like a quiet echo reverberating softly in the background of your everyday life. Carl Jung spoke frequently about telepathic experiences, those mysterious moments when two emotionally linked souls sense each other's energy across great distances, across time. You might wake up unexpectedly with their image in your mind, or sense their mood shift without exchanging a single word. This kind of connection transcends logic and physical presence. It is not fantasy. It is resonance, a deep vibration shared between souls. When a bond is formed at such an intimate psychological or spiritual level, it creates a frequency that never truly disappears. Even if outward communication fades to silence, that frequency quietly lingers, like a song playing softly in the next room, waiting patiently for the perfect moment to swell once more. In this light, silence is not absence. It is transformation. Perhaps both of you needed space to evolve on your own paths. Perhaps something had to change internally before the truth of your connection could be fully seen and embraced. Or perhaps, in this lifetime, your paths will never physically cross again. Yet the bond remains, intangible but real, continuing its work beneath the surface of your awareness. But their impact continues to ripple through your life, even from afar, shaping your journey in subtle, profound ways. This is the paradox and the beauty, the bittersweet truth, of destined connections. They may not always remain physically present, but they never truly leave your soul. You don't need to chase them down or break the silence just to prove the bond exists. Because the real evidence is already etched deep within you, in the way your heart still skips when you hear their name, in the echo of their energy that lingers in your chest, in the vivid memory of their gaze that can still stop you mid-breath. Destiny isn't about permanence or possession. It's about significance and soul-deep meaning. Sometimes the silence that stretches between two people becomes a sacred, fertile space, a quiet sanctuary where understanding and transformation quietly unfold. You learn to speak without words, to communicate through energy alone. You learn to listen with your entire being beyond sound and sight. You come to realize the connection hasn't vanished. It has simply shifted, transcended physical form to dwell in a more mysterious realm. And when a bond is truly real, it doesn't matter how many days, months, or years separate you. One glance, one accidental encounter, one unexpected message can awaken everything again. Not because the connection was lost, but because it was never truly gone. It waits patiently, quietly, like a flame kept alive beneath the ashes, ready to reignite at the perfect moment. So if you're sitting with the silence, if the growing distance fills you with doubt, if you question whether it was all just a dream woven by your mind, hold on to this truth. Silence cannot erase what is real. Distance cannot sever what is destined. And time has no power over what was never meant to be confined by its passing. Those who are meant to walk your soul's path leave behind an imprint so profound that no silence can dissolve it. Because when the soul truly remembers, it never forgets. They reflect the deepest layers of your being. When you meet, converse, connect, something subtle and mysterious begins to stir within you. It's not simply a feeling of closeness. It's a dawning clarity, a revelation of yourself in ways you haven't seen before. Not the polished self you show to the world, but the raw, vulnerable, often hidden self, the one veiled behind laughter, shadowed by silence, cloaked in strength. You come to realize this person is more than just present before you. They are your mirror. Carl Jung spoke about this power of the mirror. He called it projection, the unconscious act of placing parts of ourselves onto others. Especially those parts we have rejected, denied, or not yet integrated into our conscious being. Certain rare souls have the unique power to reflect these fragments back to us with startling clarity, simultaneously healing and unsettling. This is why, in their presence, you may feel laid bare, not because they judge, but because hiding becomes impossible. They see right through your carefully built defenses. They perceive the nuances that others overlook, the silent cracks in your armor. Even if their words remain unspoken, their very presence holds up a mirror so vivid and unyielding that you are compelled to face what you have long buried deep inside. They reflect your radiant light, your kindness, your creativity, your profound depths. Yet they also reveal your shadows, your fears, your doubts, your recurring patterns that you try to ignore. They stir awake what has been dormant, sometimes stirring wounds that ache beneath the surface. And this awakening, though it can be terrifying in its intensity, carries a fierce liberation. In their presence, you may feel a rare sense of being deeply understood, without the need for elaborate explanations. Conversations plunge into depths you didn't know existed. Even their silence vibrates with unspoken meaning, rich with emotional weight. You might find yourself emotionally stripped bare, not merely heard but profoundly felt in your rawest truth. That is what sets this connection apart. With most people, we engage behind masks, slipping into roles and playing parts shaped by personality and circumstance. But when someone becomes your true mirror, reflecting the core of your being, those masks crumble and fall away. You become emotionally transparent, honest, vulnerable, and raw. Not because you're trying to impress or perform for them, but because it's impossible to hide. They awaken the truth within you that has been waiting quietly in the shadows. This kind of connection is rarely easy. In fact, it often ranks among the most intense emotional experiences you will ever face. Because when someone reflects you so clearly, they don't just show you your light. They confront you with the unfinished work inside. The wounds you've avoided healing, the hidden truths you haven't dared to acknowledge. And yet, this is exactly why such a bond holds immense power. Destiny isn't about comfort or ease. It's about profound evolution. And no one propels our growth more fiercely than those who mirror the parts of ourselves we're finally ready to meet. Carl Jung taught that each person we encounter embodies an archetype, a symbolic figure within our inner landscape. Some reflect our inner child, tender and vulnerable. Others hold up the image of our wounded self, fractured and raw. Some reveal our shadow, the darker, rejected traits lurking beneath our awareness. And then there are those who mirror our untapped potential, the bold, powerful version of ourselves yet to be fully expressed. Meeting someone who embodies multiple archetypes at once ignites an emotional storm. You feel safe yet frightened, seen but overwhelmed, drawn and yet triggered. That's how you know, this is not mere attraction. This is transformation in motion. They hold your chaos and your clarity, your strength and your tenderness. They don't seek to fix or alter you. They simply exist with such authenticity that it becomes impossible for you to remain asleep to your own truth. That's why their presence lingers so powerfully in your memory. It's not about what they said or did. It's about the deep reflections they brought to light, about the hidden depths of yourself they revealed. This reflection surfaces through a glance that pierces your defenses, a tone of voice that resonates in your soul, or simply the mysterious timing of their arrival in your life. The impact isn't always bold or obvious. More often it's quiet, a subtle shift you barely notice at first. Yet its presence is undeniable. After being with them, you walk away feeling as if you've glimpsed something sacred. Not just within them but within yourself. At first, you might resist this reflection. Most do. Because to be mirrored is to be vulnerable, exposed in ways that can feel unsettling. But if you allow yourself to stay with that uneasy feeling, if you don't shy away from the discomfort, a profound truth begins to emerge. They are holding up a mirror that reveals the path back to your true self. Not the version you've been conditioned to become, but the authentic you, hidden beneath layers of expectation and defense. Sometimes they see this truer self long before you even recognize it in yourself. They speak to your deepest potential. They treat you like someone worthy, rich with depth, meaning, and purpose, even in moments when you have forgotten your own value. And in that realization, everything shifts. This isn't just a connection. It's a revelation. They are not here to complete what you believe is missing. They are here to remind you that you were never broken in the first place. That all you need, every piece of strength, every ounce of light, has been within you all along, quietly waiting to be uncovered, embraced, and set free. So if you've met someone who reflects the hidden parts of you, the ones you've long tried to hide from the world, if they make you feel more yourself than you've ever felt around anyone else, if they stir awake a truth inside you that you've been too scared to face, listen closely. Pay attention. Because what you're feeling is far more than coincidence. It's a calling. A sacred invitation to step into who you truly are. Destiny doesn't always announce itself through grand, unmistakable events. Often, it whispers quietly through the presence of a single person, someone who holds up a mirror just by existing. If you have the courage to truly look, what you see reflected back might transform everything you thought you knew about yourself and your path. Their presence stirs something profound and spiritual within you. Unlike ordinary connections built on attraction, timing, or shared interests, this is something far deeper. You feel it in your chest, beneath your skin, in the stillness between words. Their very being seems to shift the energy around you, not just emotionally but on a soul level. It's difficult to put into words. Perhaps you feel more awake and alive in their presence, as if your senses sharpen and the world reveals new colors. Or maybe you experience the opposite, a profound calmness you've never known before. Your mind quiets, your heart softens, and without speaking, a sacred silence forms between you, a silence that says, "This is bigger than either of us." Carl Jung taught that every individual embarks on a journey of individuation, a process of becoming whole by bringing the unconscious into conscious awareness. But some paths cannot be walked alone. Certain souls cross our way not simply to accompany us, but to ignite that transformation within. They don't instruct with words or lessons. They teach through presence, through the spiritual energy they emanate. When someone is truly destined to be part of your life, their presence awakens parts of you that have long been dormant, dimensions of your being waiting patiently to be rediscovered and integrated. You might find yourself drawn to profound questions about your life, questioning your values, your beliefs, and the very foundations you once took for granted. Illusions that once shaped your world begin to dissolve, revealing a hunger for something far deeper. More meaning, more authenticity, more connection to a reality beyond the surface. And the truth is, you can never truly go back. Because once a connection touches the core of your soul, your spirit remembers, indelibly and forever. Even after they leave, something lingers. Not just a memory but a vibration, a subtle frequency that reshapes your energy. They haven't controlled you. Instead, they have awakened something within. You might notice an unexpected pull towards spiritual practices. Perhaps you start meditating, diving into the mysteries of the soul, or paying closer attention to your dreams. This isn't happenstance. It's the ripple effect of encountering someone whose presence resonates with your soul's evolution. They don't need to identify as spiritual or speak in mystical terms. Often they don't. Yet their energy, their truth, their wounds, and simply their presence carry an undeniable power, a magnetism that calls to your own inner transformation. Carl Jung taught that true change doesn't come from knowledge alone, but from lived experience. And this person is not just a meeting, they are an experience your soul instantly recognizes. You might even feel as if you've known them before. Not in a romantic or sentimental sense, but in a sacred, unsettling way, as if your soul recalls an ancient pact your conscious mind never signed. These are the connections that often feel karmic, wrapped in mystery and sometimes chaos. But no matter how turbulent, they always bring awakening. You begin to notice subtle signs, synchronicities that catch your attention. Repeating numbers that appear in unlikely places. Vivid dreams that seem to whisper secrets. Strange coincidences that feel too deliberate to be mere chance. It's as if the universe itself is reaching out, trying to communicate directly with you. And in truth it is. Carl Jung believed the unconscious speaks in symbols, a language beyond words, rich with meaning hidden beneath the surface. In this dance of destiny, this person becomes more than just an individual. They become a symbol, a living metaphor for your own inner transformation. But here's the paradox. It's never truly about them. They are the mirror reflecting your soul's depths. The trigger igniting long-dormant sparks. The light switch that illuminates what was once hidden in shadow. Once your soul is awakened, your path shifts profoundly. You no longer wander aimlessly chasing fleeting pleasures or running from pain. Instead, you begin to search for truth, for authentic connection, for a meaning that resonates deep within. You feel something ancient stirring inside. A memory without a name. A truth without clear words. No matter how hard you try to move forward, a tether remains, not necessarily to the person themselves, but to what they awaken within you, your own emergence. Sometimes these souls flash into your life like a brilliant flame, intense, transformative, but fleeting. Other times they linger, not necessarily as romantic partners, but as spiritual companions, walking beside you on your journey of becoming. In every case, their role is sacred, because they didn't just cross your path, they entered your psyche. And from that profound place they helped shift everything. You might find yourself caught in a strange dance of emotions, feeling grief even as gratitude fills your heart. Tears may fall without a clear reason, flowing from a place deeper than understanding. You might long for them, not as a person but as a profound feeling, a presence that touched your soul. That's because they opened a spiritual gateway within your life. And even when they leave, that gateway remains open, waiting. It becomes yours to walk through. And here lies the true beauty. The awakening they ignited does not end with their presence. It unfolds beyond them, growing deeper, richer, more intricate. You begin to encounter yourself in ways you never have before. Your inner world expands. You attract new energies, different souls who align with this emerging truth. Boundaries grow stronger, clearer, because they reveal to you the version of yourself you are meant to become. Carl Jung would say these encounters are never mere coincidence. They are archetypal, profound soul figures who carry symbolic meaning your unconscious had been quietly yearning for. When these figures arrive, they don't just alter your path. They transform you. So, if someone has stirred a spiritual fire within you, if their presence has shifted the very fabric of your reality, know this, you are awakening. And that awakening is yours to honor, to explore, and to embrace. If you ever felt a glimpse of truth, even just for a fleeting moment, whenever they were near, honor that feeling. There's no need to explain it, no need to clutch it tightly. But you must hold it with respect. Because destiny rarely unfolds like a fairy tale. Sometimes destiny shows up as a mirror that cracks open the walls around your soul, allowing the light you've long sought to finally pour in. And that light? It never fades. Some souls are not meant to stay in your life forever. They come to awaken something eternal within you. You meet them and life shifts its shape, not because they completed you, but because they unveiled the part of yourself that had been patiently waiting to rise. Destiny isn't always about romance or happy endings. Sometimes it's about remembering the essence of who you are beneath all the layers the world tried to erase. So if you felt it, the pull, the silence, the mirror, the awakening, don't run from it. Don't doubt it. Don't bury it deep within. Simply honor it. Because even if that person never returns, your soul already did. And that, in the truest sense, is what destiny means.